Oh boy. Oh, this is way harder than I thought it would be. Oh my God. Oh, let's do it. This is it. One more time. Oh, I feel like Jenna Marbles. All good things must come to an end, guys. Shoulda-bop-a-da-boo.
Somewhere on the scene.
Oh, one final clear of the throat. There it is. Feels good. Guys, welcome to the final ever Memoirs of a White Guy podcast. What a fucking bombshell to open the year with, huh? 2021, new year, no podcast. No, that's not happening. Guys, don't worry. Hey, everyone, chill out. All right? No one's throwing in the towel here. You don't see any boots hanging on the wall. I haven't hung them up yet. Okay? Let me explain myself. You're probably looking at this podcast title going, Luke, you better speak fast. You better talk real quick, my dude. Explain yourself. Stop stalling. Stop doing what you're doing right now and stalling. So you know what? I will. I've queued up some royalty-free farewell music for my big farewell speech to you all to thank you for a great 3 years. So let's just get it underway. Guys, it comes... I'll be honest, I haven't planned this. I had a month to think about this, and I kind of just making it up. Guys, I have a harrowing announcement for any Memoirs of a White Guy fans. If you're a fan of Memoirs, if you're a fan of white guys, if you are a fan of memoirs written or spoken audio-wise by white guys, then this may be hard to hear. But I, Luke Kidgell, am officially announcing for the second time this podcast, but this time backed by sad, royalty-free farewell music, that the Memoirs of a White Guy podcast is no longer. Now, video listeners may be wondering, Luke, why are you looking kind of away from the camera sometimes? And I'll be honest, it's because I'm filming this on 2 cameras. My iPhone and my year 12 media camera. Because I couldn't find my battery charger. I think I lost it at the loogies. I've had a month to sort it out, and I've just realized today that I do not have all the equipment I need to be an actual YouTuber. So maybe it's a good thing that this is the final ever episode of Memoirs of a White Guy. It, however... Oh, geez, that music came in so perfectly. It, however, is not the final Luke Kidgell solo podcast. Because in 2021, ladies and gentlemen, we are entering a new chapter. May I present to you the Luke Kidgell Hour. Cue obnoxiously royalty-free happy music. Oh, this is pretty fucking obnoxious. Wow. I feel like I'm in the start of a Pixar film. What's up, Sally? Randall. Hey. Greg, you know when like Sally's walking into Monsters Inc? This is what should have been playing. Looking good, Roz. Doing your paperwork. Guys, we're changing the name of the podcast. That's the bombshell. I'm not quitting. I would never do that. I don't want to quit this shit. I fucking love this podcast, man. And yeah, we're switching it up. This year, the podcast is going to be called the Luke Kidgell Hour, starting from next week. And there's going to be a couple of changes. Now, just pump the brakes, okay? I know, I get it. You're a human being and you're like me. Trust me, I know. This is Memoirs of a White Guy for the final time, okay? I know. I hate change, dude, I'll be honest. I'm so confused as to where to look. It's throwing me off. I have 2 cameras looking at me and I'm just staring between them and not really looking at either. Fuck. Hang on, I'm gonna figure out which one looks best and then start doing the podcast again because I can't keep doing it like this. Fuck. Alrighty, I'm back. Guys, I've ditched the iPhone. I've decided we're not filming the final chapter of this podcast on an Apple product, a company that has caused me so much grief and heartache, and you guys have had to listen to so much complaining throughout the years. It just wouldn't feel right to endorse that. So I figured as one final blow to that fuck off corporation. I mean, yes, I use all their products. Yes, I'll continue buying them forever. Right? But also as one final blow, because this will show them, I'm going to use my 10-year-old high school Nikon camera that I don't even know how it works at this point. I filmed my year 12 media film, Cop Squad, on it. This camera has easily shot what is pretty much my best work to date, which is all the videos that I filmed in high school. And maybe a couple of the first episodes of this podcast too, who knows. But yeah, this'll fucking show them. You'll see a real dip in Apple's stock market this week after I put this out. They'll be like, whoa, he chose a 10-year-old camera over a brand new iPhone. Suck on that, Tim Cook, or whatever that dude's name was. Was that his name? I don't know. Think so. Anyway, don't think he's alive. That's sad. Ugh, really bummed out the mood again. Hey guys, it's post-podcast Luke here. Just wanted to jump in here and say I've just thought about this since recording the podcast. Tim Cook is definitely 100% still alive. I was thinking of Steve Jobs. So pretty disrespectful on my behalf, but easily not the worst thing I said during this episode of the podcast. So anyway, just wanted to clear the air on that one. Steve Cook is alive, breathing, and well. Don't freak out if you're related to him. He's all G. And but just tell him if you are related to him to lower the fucking price of his phones. All right, back to the podcast. The point is, guys, I don't like changes. Getting back to where we were. Changes are bad. And I know how you must be feeling right now. You must be thinking, Luke's going to change everything. It's going to fuck it all up. I feel your concern. And I'll raise you one. I also don't like change. I'm as nervous as you are, but this is what I want out of you guys. This is how I pictured this transition to go in my head. I'm Troy. You guys are Gabrielle. We're in a bar at a karaoke night, and I nervously approach the microphone, and I say to you all, this could be the start of something new. And then I nervously look over at you all, and everyone who listens to this podcast hopefully will nervously approach their microphone and go, and it feels so right to be here with you. And I go, oh, and now looking in your eyes. And we sing this part together. I'm feeling the start of something new. And then at the end of this whole thing, we're all going to be on stage together going, we're on this together. And this whole podcast transition is just going to play out like a goddamn teen musical, man. Because my life's a goddamn movie. All right. And that's how I imagine this going in my head. So I hope you're all on board. I'll tell you a bit about the changes. Here's what's going to go down. It's called the Luke Kidgell Hour from now on. You're probably wondering why change the name. Great question. A couple reasons. The main one is quite boring and just a general business reason. I kind of wanted my name in the title. Branding as a comedian is important. It's a lot more important having my name up in the charts in the iTunes store than Memoirs of a White Guy. Because people are like, what's that? I want, just the whole Luke Kidgell brand to be... I just want to have my name in the title, essentially. And even if I put Memoirs of a White Guy with Luke Kidgell or something like that, it's really long. And yeah, that's one of the reasons. And the second reason, it's not honestly, it wasn't a huge reason. Otherwise, I would have done it like 6 months ago or a year ago when all that stuff was going down. But the title Memoirs of a White Guy has not aged miraculously, has it? I mean, when I started, and it still is that in my head, but I guess words change over time, and white people are now public enemy number one. And when I started, Memoirs of a White Guy was like a funny way to be like, oh, I'm not very good at dancing and I like Wheat Bix, you know? And now Memoirs of a White Guy is like, oh, I have a pointy hat, you know? That's what, so not that like everyone would think that, but I just think it's not a great podcast title to maybe get in a wide range of audience. And not that I think it would put anyone off. I just don't think, I'm more future-proofing myself. I don't think the term Memoirs of a White Guy is going to get any better with age. Now, that's not really, that's like 10% of the reason. I've had that thought before of like, maybe I should change the podcast name. And then I've always gone, who gives a fuck? I don't care, right? But the main 90% reason is just branding. I kind of wanted to have my name in the podcast title for ages now. And I also wanted to spice things up a little bit. I wanted to add a little bit of a fire back into the belly. You know, you guys know this is my job, and you guys most of you have jobs. And if you work a 9 to 5, you know, every single day, which is technically what I do, my job's just probably heaps more fun than yours. And that's okay. I followed my dreams and you didn't, but that's okay. And you might be trying to follow your dreams, and good luck, keep going, right? But you'll know that work gets a bit mundane. And perhaps it was the 2020 year for me, or constantly doing this podcast from home and maybe not having enough stuff to talk about or whatever. I don't know what it was, but Memoirs of a White Guy, I'm being honest with you, this was the one thing last year that kind of felt, I enjoyed doing it once I get doing it, but like the process of like, oh yeah, I got to do another podcast. Yeah, cool. After already doing Luke and Lewis, Patreon podcast, blah, blah, blah. It just felt a little tedious. And obviously I have a lot of help from Reese, who edits for me. He turns around most of the back end stuff of this podcast. So essentially this year we're working together, because we're obviously working fairly remotely last year because we couldn't work together a lot of the year. But we've been working together quite closely, and very excited to announce that Reese is going to be joining me on the podcast every week, in the sense of he'll be like producing it. He'll be there. He'll have a microphone. It'll still be the podcast. It'll still be me talking to you guys. And then maybe like Reese just like, you know, fact checking things, looking things up, reading a few of your emails. He's just there to make sure it all goes smoothly, you know? I'm the type of person that I love collaborating and creating with other people. And I think Reese and I always have so much fun. And I think just doing it with someone else will bring a lot of new energy from my end, which is great for you guys. And also just a lot of fun back into the thing. Doing this by myself is like fun, but I know, this is the thing, I know I'm funny. I do it for a job. I'm very fucking good at it, guys. And I like, okay, I'm not that good at it, but I try, you know? I don't need to prove to myself that I'm funny. So sometimes when I'm like here by myself, I'm like, why am I trying to amuse myself? And it's hard to picture that there's like thousands of people who you're trying to amuse, because it's just me in my fucking room. But yeah, I think, anyway, I'm rambling. But the point is, Reese is going to be here, and it's going to be called the Luke Kidgell Hour, which means, you guessed it, it's going to be 1 hour every week and to the dot. Reese is going to keep me on time, dude. We are doing 60 minutes, no more, no less. It says it in the title. You get the Luke Kidgell Hour. You get an hour of fucking me, and that's it. Nothing more, nothing less. And if you want more, it's on the Patreon with Luke and Meg. And I don't even really do an hour often, but that's the goal this year. We're going to do an hour every week, which is consistency. And if you're one of those people that hate change, once you get used to this change, oh, you'll love it. There'll be no change. You'll be like, I can plan my whole day around this. I know it's going to go for exactly 60 minutes. I can do something that will take me Dude, you guys are going to have a field day planning your day so conveniently around this podcast in the future. You're welcome. So yeah, Luke Kidgell Hour. I'm trying to think if there's any other changes. Oh, we've got a new hourglass coming that I've got. It'll be on the set behind me. That was pretty funky. Definitely spent too much money on that from memory. And what else do I have? Reese will be here. We're obviously updating like the title. Really nothing changes. And one thing that I was a bit up in the air about. I did a poll, or not really even a poll. I just did a rough, like I wanted to float it by people in the Discord, and of if I should get a new podcast song or not. Obviously, this is the current jam, and I know it's very well loved, and I can't blame you guys for loving it. It's funky as hell. One of the funkiest jams I've ever seen. And the verdict was, fuck no, Luke. Don't change it. We want to groove like this. And if you're an audio listener, just groove right now, dude. Just fucking, even just bop your finger wherever you are. Just bop that finger. Bop it up, down to the beat. Just like this. So we're not changing it. And that's another great thing for people who hate change. Not even the intro song's changing. It's actually just the title and the consistent duration. And also, if Reese is here every week, it means I can't not do the podcast, you know, because then Reese doesn't get paid that week. So there's a lot of me as well. It puts me under the pump to do this every week, which is what I need. So there's going to be one every week. 2021 is going to be big. Now, I'm not going to promise the world. We're just going to show you. That's what this year is about. This year is about doing last year. That's what most people's year is about in 2021, is like trying to achieve all this shit they didn't achieve in 2020. I mean, I don't think we need to dwell on 2020 too much. This is the first podcast of the year. I guess it's weird if we ignore it, or we can just leave it behind us. Well, one thing I will say, and a genuine, earnest thing I did want to say about 2020, I was thinking about it like over the New Year's period, had a great break. I'll fill you guys in. But I was like, man, 2020 really made me realize the level of privilege that I've had my entire life. And I know I joke about it and blah, blah, and I often go, no, I'm aware of it. It was the first time, and this is kind of fucked up to say, that this is one of the most privileged things that will ever come out of my mouth. It was the first time that anything bad has ever happened to me. And I mean that in the sense of, it's the first time in my life that I've ever been affected by something that's affecting thousands and millions of other people. Because it really affected everyone. Like, usually, if I wanted to see bad shit or tragedy, the only place I could find that would be on the news. And I'm so thankful for that. I'm not complaining. That's what an amazing upbringing I've had, you know? Got born in one of the best countries in the world, and one of the best places of the best countries in the world. It's amazing. But this year, like early last year, so I guess this time last year, I was just finding out about the coronavirus. You know, didn't think it was going to be a big deal. And when I first found out about it, I did the thing that I always do, was going, oh, that sucks. Like, you know, your brain goes like, oh, that's fucking awful. But oh, well, won't affect me and there's nothing I can do about it. And you just keep living your day. And then 3 months later, I was like, oh, bad shit can happen here too. And that blew my mind. I know that might sound dumb, but that blew my mind, that I was like, oh, I'm affected. And that's never happened before. So I think that was a real good shock. And man, if 2020 didn't make you realize what you value, then you wasted that year, I think. Like, if you were like me and couldn't do what you wanted to, and it didn't make you realize what you value most, and what I realized I valued most was like, and I've said this maybe a little bit on the podcast before, I don't really care about YouTube. That's what I realized last year, because I was like, man, I had a whole year to do YouTube, and I kind of just like didn't make the most of it, which I don't regret. I started a lot of new things. Like I started doing Twitch. That was so much fun, streaming, all this stuff. And when I realized, I was like, oh, I value fun. Like, that's what I go out of my way to pursue fun in everything I do in life, right? Which is a great thing. I think it's one of my best qualities, right? But yeah, I think it was just a thing of this year, I'm going to just do that. like, I don't, this might sound dumb to a lot of people because I know a lot of people care about how many subscribers everyone has or whatever. I don't, that stuff doesn't really bother me, man. I would be probably more successful if I had 50,000 subscribers than 96,000 because there wouldn't be fucking 56 fucking thousand people sitting there, or however many that don't even fucking watch my videos. So it doesn't really matter how many subscribers you have. This year, I'm just going to like, hopefully do as many shows as possible. I fucking love doing these podcasts. I love doing this one. I love doing Luke and Lewis. So that's going to be a huge part of my year is consistency and growing these. And sure, we'll do a bit of YouTube. I'll dabble. I always like to dabble. It's still something I enjoy doing. But yeah, this year's going to be a lot of stand-up. So expect that on YouTube and expect a lot of vlogs and a lot of fun. Because I think that's what I'm really excited about this year is like, I realized like what I missed last year. And I was like, oh, I just love waking up every day and going like, I know that sounds dumb, but going like, what can we do today to have fun? Like whether it's film a dumb video or whatever. I think that's the goal this year. And I've been really doing it. We've been getting a lot of stand-up stuff ready to go on YouTube. I've been filming a bit of vlog stuff, which will be uploaded in the next couple of weeks or so. And yeah, don't want to promise the world. Just going to try and show you guys and hopefully stick to some kind of consistent podcast schedule. I'm not going to promise a consistent YouTube schedule. All right, guys, can't get out of here. Okay, I'm not a fucking miracle worker. But yeah, so I hope you guys are pumped for the year with whatever you're doing, because I'm pumped with what I'm doing. Feels like a little bit of a clean slate. And, oh yeah, getting back to what I was saying before, you know, if you have a 9 to 5, this new podcast title, and I know it's not much of a change, but it feels like enough of a change to make me excited to work again. I imagine it's like the feeling of when you get a new desk in an office job. It's not much, but that day that you know you've got a new desk and you get to like sort out your pens again and it's all clean at the start, there must be a little bit of a spark in you going, no, I don't hate this. I'm not mad about this at all. And this is my new desk. You know, we literally got a new desk for Reese, actually. He's going to sit literally in the fucking corner of my room because there's really not that much room in here. So Reese will just be like, you know, Robert Reese will be in the corner doing his best, and I'll be here, same spot, chilling, same segments. We might add a couple. I have one idea for a new segment. We'll kick off that one next week. But yeah, guys, I know that was a long ass announcement. Went for 20 minutes or half an hour, did it? Fuck. But yeah, this is the final ever Memoirs of a White Guy. But do not go anywhere because it's only just beginning. Also, I'm not gonna like start the episode numbers from scratch again. It's still gonna be like episode or whatever the next one is. I'm just changing the name. Guys, the point I'm trying to say is don't freak out. It's the same podcast. I'm kind of just changing the name because I want to be successful. So, yeah. What it was, okay, also, and this is what's changed this year, guys. If you don't think I'm stepping it up, I've got a whiteboard of all my ideas on it this year, and I've already forgotten what that was. It just says hot dick. Oh, yeah, no, I remember. Dude, I always write little keywords down of like, oh yeah, you'll know what this means later. And I just wrote down the 2 words hot dick and then looked at the whiteboard and was like, oh my God, whiteboard, stop it. And then I realized, oh yeah, that's right. I burnt the fuck out of my cock. So let's start off here. The worst thing I did in 2020, guys, all year. Actually, it was probably one of the worst things to happen all year. You know, obviously millions of whatever people died. Ugh, who cares? I don't have time to care about everything, but guys, this happened to me. So, God, that was such a bad statement. Who cares that millions of people died? Hi, Luke Kidgell. And by the way, I don't think that's a bad thing. It was just I used a bad tone, you know, because if I went, oh, who cares about millions of people dying? You know, I could be like, oh, me. You know, I care. Like, it could be rhetorical, or it could be me genuinely asking someone and them going, oh, well, the police department, they usually care. And general health government services, I mean, in some parts of the world, clearly don't care. America. like stuff like that. Like, but yeah, the way I said it, guys, bad, but I don't think that is a bad statement. Who cares about moon? If you say it like that, who cares about moons of people dying? Bad statement. But if you go, who does care about moons of people dying? You're more just like, anyway, guys, I'm rambling again. It's been a while since I've done a podcast. Point is, I burnt my cock. And that was a bad thing that happened last year. I'll set the scene. It was at the Loogies, the Luke and Lewis Awards show. Gets to the end of the show. Lewis tries this hot chip. And I've had it 3 weeks before this happened. This was like just before Christmas. And I already had this hot chip. It's the hottest. It's called the world's hottest chip. I don't know how much truth there is to that, but it's definitely the hottest thing I've ever put in my mouth. Like, we're talking drooling, painful. It's awful. And then kind of just because we were in front of a bunch of people and it was a bit of fun, I had another chip. Biggest regret ever. Almost threw up, was choking, couldn't breathe, ran off stage. It was the end of the show. David from the Discord, legend, handed me milk. I chugged that bad boy. I don't even like milk. I'm not a milk guy on its own. Okay, I can only drink milk with Milo or some kind of Nesquik or chocolate. Just not a plain milk man. But I was chugging that milk like no tomorrow. I threw up on a skip, not in a skip, on a skip, which is pretty disrespectful with the lid closed. Almost made it, didn't get there. And then as the spice was kind of dying down 5 to 10 minutes later in me gob, I touched me knob. And oh boy, oh boy. It wasn't even heat. So I went to pee. I wasn't just jacking off. I went to pee, and then with the hand that it clearly had leftover hot corn chip dust on it, kind of like how you get Dorito dust on your fingies after you eat them, I hadn't washed my hands because I was choking and dying. I then quickly rushed to pee before the meet and greet. Obviously, washed my hands after I peed, but the damage had already been done. I'd already pinched me dick with literally my same pissing hand is also my same chip dipping hand. And I went out to the meet and greet, and the next 20 minutes were just mentally some of the hardest, one of the hardest things I've ever had to endure in my life. Dude, my cock was drooling. Just like, when you watch people have spice, that's what it felt like. You know how people's face go, I could hear my cock panting from in my pants, just going into some form of penal arrest. It was having like a dick aneurysm. I don't know what was happening, but the only people who knew was Lewis and Reese, because I couldn't really tell people that were meeting. And if you met me after that show and I felt a little flustered, it's because I had an inferno in my pants. And I do apologize, but god damn, I had one spicy sausage. Holy shit. I've put deep heat on my nuts before and dick as a joke in year 10. I'm not proud of it. I think I might have even discussed this before on the podcast. Definitely not one of my proudest acts at all. And that was painful. Deep heat on your testicles. Don't do it. Wouldn't recommend to a friend. This was worse. Because this had deep heat is kind of it's not spice. It's not chili. I don't know what it is, but it's hot. It has a cool burn to it. This has a hot burn to it because it's chili. And chili's really not even supposed to go in your mouth, let alone in your cock. It felt like it was in there, and I'm sorry to be graphic, but holy dooly, my cock was drooling. Holy dooly. I don't really know what else to say other than I think I just wanted to let you guys know that I am a stronger person now, and I'm thinking I'm taking some of that positive energy into 2021 with me, going I ended 2020. This happened December 23rd. So I ended 2020 on a pretty stinker of a note, with a hot dick, and I'll be honest, a slight rash the next day. It caused next day damage from a chip. Imagine if you actually fucked the chip packet. Your dick may fall off. I'm not sure what would happen, but it would not be good news. Holy moly. So yeah, I think I'm starting 2021 with a few goals. I usually set goals at the start of the year. Obviously, all those goals were poo-pooed in 2020 by the virus. But 2021, I'm not going to set any crazy career goals. I'm going to do as many shows as I can. I'm going to be consistent on podcasts. I'm going to give this year a fair income fucking crack because I feel like I need it. I got a lot of catching up to do from last year. And the main resolution is, Luke, wash your fucking hands before peeing if you've eaten an insanely hot chip. And that's just a little resolution that I made as the clock struck midnight on New Year's Eve. You know, all my friends were like, Happy New Year. And I was like, I'm not going to touch me dick. You know, I still will touch me dick, obviously, but not when there's chili on me hand. And I think that's, if you can take anything away from this podcast, and we usually try and make this like an episode of Modern Family where there's like somewhat of a moral takeaway from it. And the moral takeaway would be, girls, boys, whatever, just don't touch whatever genitalia you have as a human being. After that, I've heard some horror stories from my friends. They will remain nameless, but during some sex acts, post-cooking, they both had a bit of chili on their fingers. My mate went in for the kill with his hands, and she unfortunately copped the same chili wrath that I experienced. And I heard this story a few years ago, and it broke my heart for her because I feel like it'd be worse if you're a girl if you got it in your vagina because holy dooly, I just kind of had it on the outside, the tip of me cock, and that was bad news. So could not even imagine what it would be like internal. Actually, I swallowed one. I could definitely imagine. But yeah, it's happened to my friends before, and it's something I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. Unless you are my real worst enemy. I don't really have enemies, man. I think I want to write a bit about this. Like, who the fuck has enemies? It's crazy. Like, what kind of psychopath has an enemy? I think I've done a bit about that in the past. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe it didn't work. Maybe I shouldn't do a bit about that. Oh, here's a good one. You guys know that I have a love-hate relationship with TikTok on this podcast. It's nothing new. I'm not inventing the wheel, reinventing the wheel. Who knows what the saying is, guys? Whatever. I'm not changing the world here, but Jesus, this one was... I feel like it's slowly making people's brains not smaller, just less dense. You know, a few real light brains out there walking among us. A few featherweight fucking heads just strolling around going, oh, it's a new trend. You know why? Back in 2017, 2016, pre-TikTok days, people would come up to me in the street, and it's lovely, and I say this all the time, and they would say sentences like this, like, hey, Luke, hey, man, really love your videos on YouTube, great stuff, lovely to meet you, see ya. Now, that's a full sentence, dude. That's coherent English. They didn't miss any words. They used all the right, they said it in the right tone. They just, what a fucking sentence. And that used to be something that I took for granted, was having a stranger come up to me and say a full sentence without fucking it up. And then they would go about the day, and I used to go, oh, that's really normal. Dude, I used to take that shit for granted. I would marvel at that these days. If someone came up to me and used words, that would be incredible. Wouldn't that be fucking nuts? Because what happened to me, we're at Phillip Island. I was with Meg. I'm walking down the main strip. This girl just comes up to me. Dude, and I'll be honest, I know she was like a 16-year-old girl, but in my memory, all I remember was a fucking caveman just went up to me, and this was her exact words. She went, "You, TikTok? Yes." What? How many fucking words did she miss? She missed the first word, which is "hey, you," or "are you on TikTok?" Yeah, like, yes, that didn't make sense. I should have fucking grunted back at her like the caveman that she fucking was. She just went, "You," paused, and I like waited. And I was sitting there waiting. You know when someone pauses mid-sentence and it just feels like an hour? Like I could have like done shopping. Like I could have done errands. I could have gone out to lunch in the time that she took to think of the second word, which was TikTok. I watched her think. Like her fucking, like I usually used to make this joke like, oh, their brain was on dial-up. Dude, her brain was just banging sticks together. I could see her brain not comprehending the concept of fire. She's like, "You, TikTok? Yes." I wish she'd been like, "Ooga booga," and she'd have been like, back at her. Because if that's how you're going to communicate with me, what do you expect in return? Do you want me to grunt and hit you over the head with a fucking rock? Because that's the respect that you're giving me. Do you want me to go hunting with you? Like what's the go? I didn't even know what to say. I just go, "Yeah?" And she goes, "Ha ha, ha," and then walked away. Not even, "Oh, cool," "Oh, I was right." It was just wild, man. People are going backwards, devolving. Just, oh my God. It broke me. For like, I mean, that happened 2 weeks ago and I'm still thinking about it. I've just never seen cogs not turn like that before. There were no cogs. It was whatever was in there was rusted and depleted by renegades and trends and hashtags and the endless scroll that is that fucking app. You can really tell the people that spend like 2 hours, man. Like if you're doing TikTok, these are the 3 places of the day where I think it's acceptable to mindlessly scroll that shit. When you wake up in the morning, if you're like, you know, on a weekend, when you like just want to get out of bed, sure. When you take a shit, go for your life. I'm not an idiot, all right? That's the only place really where it should be acceptable, right? Is, you know, you can watch poo when you're doing poo. And when you go to bed, maybe just before bed, like a cheeky before bed scroll. There's a couple of other instances in the day, maybe doctors' waiting rooms, public transport. But man, if you're doing like 45-minute scrolls at a time, if you get lost in the wormhole, you laugh now at that story, but you're going to be the caveman in the street grunting shit at me after my show. As long as you know that that's what your life will come to. Because I've seen it happen. And it's only ever when people recognize me from TikTok. Because I'll be honest, that's really the only time I ever speak to strangers. Really. Like, I don't go out that much. I only speak to people I know, really. So it's like, I don't get a dose of like the outside world too often. And when I do, wow. It makes me realize why I don't go out there. But anyway, you guys are fucking lovely. And obviously that's the 1%, guys. I met some fucking lovely people over the summer. And I had a great fucking summer. Man, it wasn't even that hot. I loved it. It was so much fun. Went to the beach. Whatever, I shred. Yeah, I surf. I uploaded a picture of me surfing 12-foot barrels. Don't believe me? Check my Instagram. It was hectic. Posted photo evidence. It was gnarly. I was stoked AF and all the surfer lingo. I just pretty much want to be like my surfing idol. That was my goal this summer, to become like my surfing idol, Big Z from Surf's Up, the most underrated just penguin flick in general. I swear to God, if you are Team Happy Feet, GTFO, man. Get packing. Pack your shit and get better taste. If you like tap dancing penguins over shredding penguins, sorry, can't help you. There's nothing for you on this pod. That's it. Big Z, dude. Z is for surfing. What a film. It's just, there's a lot of things you can take away from, just like this podcast from Surf's Up. Man, Cody Maverick never quits. And it's, I don't want to spoil it, but holy shit. You would not want to be Tank Evans right now, put it that way, because he got fucking owned. Yeah, that film is awesome. So that, I watched it quite recently, so I was inspired to get back out there on the surf. I want to thank Cody Maverick and all the other Chicken Joe, all the other surfers in that film for really inspiring me to take the plunge, because I haven't surfed in a while. Like, something I did growing up. I was like 12, I think. I used to get surfing lessons because I usually spend a lot of time down in Phillip Island over the summer and stuff like that, because we have a caravan down there. So, yeah, it was good, man. Running along the beach. I'm fucking fit. I'm surprisingly fit. The World Gym has done wonders for me. I did 16 kilometers during the week. No stopping and talking. Like, did it, with Meg. Meg was on the bike. Ran into my mate halfway. We ran with him for like 7K. It was great, man. Just chatting along. And I felt good afterwards. Like, I was a little bit sore, but that's when you're getting fitter, which is like when you're not struggling to get up the next day. So World Gym has done me absolute wonders. And before we wrap up, dude, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, this year, one of the big things that happened over summer that I haven't caught you guys up on was the return of the fog. Oh my God, I don't know if you guys felt the mist that was out in the air. December 23rd, the night we recorded the Loogies, but the fog bit returned. And I noticed a lot of people on their way home. It was quite a clear night when we were coming in. A lot of people using fog lights on the way home. And I went, oh, we're back, dude. And tickets are going to be on sale for some new shows in the next couple of weeks. Now, I'm not doing everywhere because I can't go everywhere yet. But we're booking in the ones that will definitely go ahead. Cannot afford to lose thousands of money again like last year. So yeah, that's what's happening. Some shows going to be on sale. We're talking regional Victoria, Melbourne Comedy Festival, and I'm pretty sure Adelaide, and we'll maybe announce some others soon because we're getting them penciled in, but who knows what's going to happen with the world. So yeah, I would fucking love it if you guys came out shows this year. I'm back doing stand-up, regular gigs, and it's really the only thing I give a shit about. So I would love it if you came along. It's so much fun to be back, and I've had a great break. I think that's what I wanted to record this episode for. I was gonna start off the year with the Luke Kidgell hour, but I was like, nah, let's do a reset episode. Welcome you guys back into the year, and I'm feeling fucking good about this year. I'm feeling hopeful. Optimistic is the correct word. I'm nervous, sure, that everything's going to go wrong like last year, but I'm quietly optimistic that this year could be awesome. And that's all I'm saying. There's a lot of stuff in the pipeline that we're working towards, and if fucking stay inside if you got a fucking sore throat, dude. That's it. And then I can become a TikTok king. I can start uploading stand-up again. You guys, do it for me. All right? I want you to do it for my own selfish reasons. Thank you. And yeah, jump on the Patreon. Meg and I are back doing an actual fortnightly Luke and Meg podcast again. So that's been fun. And jump on that. Jump on the Discord. I will end the podcast here because next Wednesday, we're starting the Luke Kidgell Hour. Send in emails. Nothing changes. lukekidgellpodcast@gmail.com. I need to load on all those sound effects again because I've lost them all over the break. Had to update my recorder that I use, the old Rodecaster. But yeah, dudes and dudettes, thank you very much for tuning in. Hope you all had a bomb diggity Christmas. And before I go, got to update you on what I got. I crushed it this Christmas. Got some socks. Yeah. Got some undies. Woo! Stocked up. Not that I really needed them, man, because we got a lot of nobbies last year from that sponsorship. And got a new toaster. Got a new kettle for the house. Dude, Christmas rips as an adult. You get so much fun shit. I got some scratchies. There's actually nothing more fun on Christmas than getting a scratchy. And yes, that is how bogan my family is. We get each other scratchies when you don't know what to get for each other, because I would rather the opportunity to win $100,000 or $10,000 and the fun of scratching the thing than just give me $30 cash. Give me the opportunity every day, because one day it's not going to pay off. And that I'm so excited to never win anything. And that's what the fun is, you know? The scratch mixed with the inevitable disappointment, or the, we won $8.50. And then the, can't be bothered to go to the post office to cash that in. That is what you do it for at Bogan Christmas. But I hope you guys had a great New Year's. Good luck for all your guys' New Year's plans. I hope you're on board for this new idea of what I have with the podcast this year. And yeah, a few new exciting things to come up with. And thank you all. I don't know why I'm not saying goodbye. Thank you all very much for listening to this chapter, Memoirs of a White Guy, of the podcast. I know there's a few of you that have actually listened to every single episode of this podcast. I want to thank you, and I also want to assure you that the show is only going to get better from here. And if you're worried about this changing, stop being a fucking nerd, okay? Change is awesome, except for when it's to do with my fashion sense, what I eat. I'm very fussy. And also everything else. Change with podcasting is good, guys. And this is my new desk. Let me have my new desk, guys. I need something new to start up the year and make me excited to come into work. And the Luke Kidgell Hour is it. So I'll see you next week. Tell all your friends that I dropped fucking bombshells out here today. Boom. And I'll see you next week for the first ever Luke Kidgell Hour. Tell all your friends we're going to build this podcast. We're going to double the podcast numbers this year. You heard it here first. See you later, legends. And tell your friends. Goodbye.